Change is not something to resist. Took me almost 40 years to see this. I used to think change is something or was something that was happening to me. But what I've come to realize is that change is itself moving through me, reshaping me, showing me who I really am beneath all that changed in my life. The other day, this question came to me and it really grabbed me, really woke something up in me. Has anything that ever come stayed? And this took me straight into pondering how life is always changing. But it showed me something deeper as well. Change is not something to resist. The pain we feel when we experience change, that came from my resistance to it. From discovering more of your true essence to the awareness of it, I realized that nothing ever stays. Not happiness, not sadness, not our feelings, not our emotions, not even our physical body. It's all changing. And if you ask yourself that one question, it is profound a journey it takes you on. Has anything that ever come stayed? Recently I've been catching up over the phone with a few friends that I've known for quite some years. And I noticed that in the conversation, each conversation, we began to reminisce on how life has changed. But through my own reflection, observation, and deepening consciousness, I realized that everything is always changing within us and around us. And if you want to see the depth and truth of this, all you have to do is start to remember. And I feel like we tend to get stuck in the change. And even change itself is always changing. I find it is so easy to get stuck in the change and not even know it. You can't move forward if you don't see yourself separate from the change. If we don't recognize that we are not the change, change is moving through us. What I used to do in the past, and sometimes now, if I'm not present, I used to judge the change, what I was experiencing. But then I started to observe instead. And when we just observe, there is no judgment, because if there is, then we are judging. Then we find ourselves, when we start to judge, we find ourselves associating with the change. And from just observing and not judging, I realize I am not the change. We are the awareness of what has changed. Before this depth of or deepening of consciousness, conscious awareness, I identified with the change. I also recognize that my body changes. I recognize at a certain age, there's a shift that happens in your body. It is about getting older, but then deeper, you recognize that something is happening in the body. So if I'm aware of this, then I am not the body. So this identifying made me associate not only with my body changing, but with the change around me. If at one point I identified so much with the body that the death of this form, this body, I felt that was it for me. But as I came to know my true essence more, I realized that this is not so. So there is this awareness, and I'm just pivoting here for a second because I feel maybe I need to say this. So I felt like when you fear death, I feel that there's a strong attachment to body form. And so when that goes, it's the end for us. But now I see differently. Now, being honest with you, fully transparent, there's a rawness about an openness. Another word about healing. There's a fear that comes up for me more about the way the body goes. That is where I feel that there's some fear there for me. But everything can only exist from this place of awareness. But when we judge, we identify with the change in some way. And then we don't know how to accept the change or how to handle the change because you feel this pain when the change comes. And that pain is not the change. The pain is the resistance of it. I see it within myself, and I see it all around me. The environment changes. Some changes are good. Some changes we see as bad. And that's my point here, is we are not the change. And although we see some change from your own perspective as bad, the deeper level is to recognize that you are not the change. And once you see that, you begin to flow with life more. I feel this is the essence of life, change. It is a very important life lesson. Everything is coming and going. This allows me to recognize the being, the presence that I am, not the person. The person changes too. Personalities changes. Skin changes. On a deeper dimension, it all fades. What remains is presence. And I find that this is truly who I am beyond change and time. Nature reflects this truth to us. Everything is changing with time. We call it seasons. So it's important to know how to handle change. Took me a long time. How do you handle change? It's simple. Don't resist it. And by doing this, acceptance and healing arises naturally. So if you want to know, if you're asking yourself the question, how do I heal from something that has changed in my life? Don't resist it. And the acceptance of it and the healing will come naturally when we stop resisting change and start embracing it. Change isn't something to resist. It's the essence of life itself. I wanted to share that with you. I've been sitting with that and pondering it. And hopefully it will nourish something in you, because change is the essence of life itself. Everything is coming and going. Everything is changing. Thank you. Thank you for listening.